Hi everyone, Angelina, Sparkling Diva, and Wednesday Inspiration Day. And today I just want to talk about not losing hope. Because the current situation, what we all experience is, I assume, right, unless you live like a hermit, there is a lot of chaos and turmoil and even very, unpleasant things going on, and you're exposed to, if you follow the news and the media, which I do as little as possible, but then you get steeped with all this stuff that they want you to believe or take on board or whatever, and it doesn't matter how you see that, but that's how I see it. And it's very difficult to get away from it then, and to hang on. If you're a light worker and you believe that we are actually ascending, moving towards a new age, the age of Aquarius is basically the new golden age, the Ascension place that we're moving towards, the 5D, then it might become very difficult to actually still see that happening. But actually, everything that is happening right now is part of that. Is part of that change. I got triggered to talk about this because of what I just read online on a forum. Someone posting, well, I don't see it happen. All I see is polarity, and and I'm thinking, yeah, there is indeed an awful lot of polarity at the moment. But if you want to put that, I think you should put that into another perspective. Get it out of this feeling perspective that it is that the polarity is something that is new and that is happening now, right? And because that's not true. Just think. Not that long ago, but still quite some time ago, for most of us, I think anyway, in the 50s, we had Elvis Presley come up as a new singer, a very attractive man, right? I was desperately in love with him as a teenager. Even then, at the time, he was already in his 40s. But anyhow, he came up in the 50s on television. Television was still relatively new at the time. And, he was moving his hips and stuff when he was singing, and in quite suggestive ways. And there was outrage, uproar, and oh my God, you couldn't do that, let alone on television. And when he was on telly, there was this black strip, a huge strip at the bottom of the screen, so you could only see him from, I don't know, from somewhere, his belly button up or something, you couldn't see the hip movements at all. And there was uproar, outrage, people were angry about it. Also the music, right? Because what he sang, the kind of music he sang, was considered black music from black people, and a white man singing black music, presenting that to white people. Oh my God, right? And in that time, in the same time, in the 50s, black people, so what now is referred to as African American people mostly then, right? They were still they didn't even have rights. They were still regarded as a lesser species. Go figure, can you imagine? I mean, bloody hell, talk about polarity. And not much later, in the 60s, women, that was already the beginning of the age of Aquarius, the shift towards that, because that doesn't go just like you flick a switch, right? It takes time, because it's a huge process. In the 60s, you had the women liberation stuff came up, right? Equal rights for women. And we had birth control pills then, so women could also decide whether they wanted to have sex, whether they wanted to have a baby, and they had control all of a sudden of their own life their own bodies, and they began to take control. They wore mini skirts and mini dresses, and seriously, if I look at pictures of these those days, women wearing these dresses, some were so short, so ridiculously short. I almost blush when I look at them, and I'm not a prude, believe me. And people stopped, many, not all of course, but many people stopped getting married, and they just moved in together. Lots of polarity, right? Because that was a disgrace, an outrage. It was not done, you to not get married in the eyes of God, and still to move in together and have sex. And so I'm just trying to say here, polarity is not new, right? And all these things, and there's plenty more, of course, in our history, recent or further in the past, they cause a lot of polarity as well. Like the stuff in the 60s caused polarity between young people, mostly the younger people with the flower power and the hippies and all that stuff, and the older generation. And it's also, I think, many people now, not all, but a lot of people now feel that everything's going to smithereens, right? Everything's going to hell and all that stuff. But people have always said that too. Older people, like in the 60s, the older generation likely said the same thing, like it's all going to hell. Women walking half naked, they're wearing bikinis, oh my God. Right? And they said that then too. Every older generation seems to say that about the newer generation as well. It's not new. So keep that in mind. It might give you a bit of a different perspective that the polarity and what's going on now is not new. That kind of stuff has always been around. And the reason that this kind of stuff creates polarity to begin with is because many people fear change, fear the new. And many of these people can't handle that, and they don't want the change. They want everything to stay the same. And that's also something that you tend to see with every older generation, the tendency. The older we get, the less flexible we become, and then we tend to hold on to the way it always has been because they're safe, it's comfortable, you know what you're gonna get, etc., etc. Right? So that's sort of behind polarity, and a group of people basically not being happy with the old anymore and wanting change and starting to go for that change, whether it's the flower power or hip movements on television. And the other group doesn't want that, resists that, and wants to hold on to how it is and the old way of things, and they are just basically unwilling to change. And basically that's what's going on right now as well. That's what we see right now too. There's a huge group of people who wants to hold on to the old, and there is a large group of people, and I think growing in numbers as well, I hope so, because more and more people start to get triggered and start to wake up. That is also part of the Ascension process. So that group is wants to change, and we don't know exactly how to create that, how to what it has to look like, what it should look like, but the feeling that it's not right is strong, is powerful, is there, and so then you have a big clash, and at the moment that gap is getting really, the gap is really substantial at the moment. So there's no way of denying that. That is absolutely true. But the thing is to not lose your perspective, to not lose hope, and to start thinking that things are not happening anymore, that the ascension isn't happening anymore. Bear in mind, when you move from a complete societal structure, system, right? That's huge, right? A complete societal structure and system to another one. That's a tremendously big change. You can't just do that. That would be like, well, basically you can use this metaphor Abraham Hicks is always using. Like the old societal structure system is like a train is going in one direction, let's say that direction, at 200 kilometers per hour or something. You know, it's going full speed because it has been going for thousands of years. So it's not like choo, 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 choo. It's not going slow. No, it's going full speed in that direction, like wow, 200, 250 kilometers per hour. The other, where we're headed, is that way. Right? And that's a new societal structure and system. And so the train that is now going 250 kilometers in that direction has to go in that direction. It has to change. It has, right? Well, imagine that you stop that train and reverse the engines to go that way in one go, without slowing down first. You'd break the freaking train, right? It breaks in half or in a gazillion pieces. It tears the whole thing apart. Everything would collapse. That goes for, if we do that with our societies, it goes for that as well. We cannot do that in one go. It's not possible, because then everything would fall apart. Well, then we are going to be in deep poo-poos if that was to happen. So first we have to slow that train down of the age of Pisces, the 3D train that is going 250 kilometers in that direction. We have to slow the damn thing down. And in order to do that, if all passengers on that train want to go in that direction, you cannot slow it down, right? It's like if you're in a train and you're on your way home in that direction, and all of a sudden people would slow that train down to go into the other direction. Well, you'd object, right? Because home is there. You wouldn't be happy about that, and you wouldn't put up with it. Nor would other people who want to go in that direction. It takes time. It doesn't just mean slowing the train down. It also means having the passengers on that train, which is millions of people, having enough of these people on that train wanting to go in that direction. And only then the train can be slowed down and turn around. It might be a stupid metaphor, I don't know, but it is like that. We can't just flick a switch and go from there to there. It doesn't work, right? It would ruin everything. And we don't want that either. We don't want everything to be trashed completely, and then we are left with what? Then we can't go that direction either. Then we'd have to first build up again where we are, right? And that might take another couple thousand years. We don't want that. So don't become desperate or numb or start thinking like it's all, we missed it. We missed our moment. It's not going to happen anymore. We are still on track. We are slowing the train down so we can turn around in the other direction. And that's chaotic. Because, well, basically the situation we're in is that a number of people on that train that is still going in that direction want to keep going in that direction. And another group of people who are also on that train, because it's the only train there's no other choice, they have decided they want to go in that direction. And they don't agree. Well, you can't have both, right? You can't have one train go that way and that way at the same time. It's not possible. So, that's basically what's going on. We're in this huge transition, and a transition is never smooth. It's always chaotic, and we are in this chaotic phase. And I think at the moment we're close to reaching the peak. This transition has started decades ago, maybe even a little longer. I'm not entirely so certain, but it started quite some time ago. And it cannot be stopped anymore. It just can't, because it's got too much momentum already. But I do feel the process has accelerated over the last number of years. And it might continue to accelerate as well. Because I do think and feel we are approaching the peak. Not and really quite there yet, right? Because the full manifestation of the age of Aquarius, the golden era, etc., that will take a bit of time, but that's fine, you know. We have to build up something completely new. You don't want to do that too fast. We have to be careful with how we do that and construct that and all that stuff. So that's going to take a bit of time before it's really fully manifested. That's fine, you know. But the beginnings of it, the rooting of it, well, that's the stuff that's going on now, the foundation. We are really important in that sense. If you're a light worker, if you're into the Ascension and the 5D and trying to help it along, we are laying the foundation now, right? And it has to be a strong foundation. So it's a process. It takes time. And so that's the message that I actually wanted to give you, because I do know a lot of people find it difficult and at the moment to still be hopeful, to still be positive, because they all only hear, feel as well and see negativity and judgment and all that stuff. And just, you know, try to unplug as much as you can from that input, so news especially, and tune in to your own inner self, to spirit, to your higher self, your inner being. Meditate regularly if need be, or go into nature. That is so helpful as well, because in nature everything just flows. It just is, right? It's never really sulking or angry or afraid or, oh my God, what's going to happen, right? I never come across a tree that is thinking, oh my God, you know. It is. Nature is. And if you tune into that, if you can open your eyes and your heart for that, you will get that energy in you too. That's why nature, being in nature, is so good. And you don't even have to walk, you know. You can just sit on a piece of grass or on a bench or whatever in a park, as long as you can be just by yourself as much as possible, and to find your center again. Don't lose hope. Everything is fine. We're going to get there. It's just, we have to get that train to slow down enough so we can go in that direction. And that's where we are. So bear that in mind. Yeah, even when it feels, well, then you don't go there. Then you don't have to feel like, oh. It's very important for us, light workers, energy workers, whatever you want to call yourself, starseeds or whatever, to actually be able to do that, to hold the feeling of positivity, love and oneness and for all, right? And to create this kind of like a platform, because love really can conquer all. And when there's enough of a platform on the planet created of love and oneness and all that stuff, then it's also easier for light beings like the angels, archangels, ascended masters, the unicorns, and so on and so forth, to come in to help us, to assist us. So that's basically what we are supposed to do here. Right? That's why we came here. And it's also easier for yourself, much easier, if you are in alignment as opposed to like, wobbling back and forth with the rest of the world. So this was my message for you for today. I do hope it's helpful, and I'm wishing you a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll see you again very soon on Saturday with a reading. Bye.